sweetness, and you fill my head with you. Shall I write it in a letter? Shall I try to get it down? Oh, you fill my head with pieces of a song I can't get out. Can I be close to you? Ooh, ooh. Can I be close to you? Ooh, ooh. Can I take you to a moment where the fields are painted gold and the trees are filled with memories of the feelings never told?
Hi everyone. Today's lesson is on the tall skinny cakes, and the issue with tall skinny cakes is that if they're uneven, they tend to be lopsided, tip over, fall over, all of the above. So the first step to getting the perfect tall skinny cake is to level it. So this is a leveler, and you simply measure out where you're going to need it. This goes up and down, but I had it preset. And you just swivel it around. When you get to the end here, you're going to have to turn it like this so that you don't lose some cake. Like so. You can leave this in here for the hubby to eat so he doesn't destroy your cake. And so this is how you get it. It's all nice and level here, but this is the side that you put on top because it's easier to put the frosting on this side. If you put it on this side, it tends to get clumped and then you're running crumbs all over your cake, especially this one. It's hazelnut. Delicious. Okay, so now it's time to frost the cake. So we'll take this over here with us, and I just sort of glob it on there. You can spin it around. Put it on again because extra frosting is good. And again, these things are messy. They don't have to be perfect. I try to overflow it to the edge a little bit. Okay, so let's put on one of these. Okay. Take your crumbs off if you have any, like I always do, because I'm not a perfectionist. These things will take hours if you start going crazy about them. But one thing I will say is the trends today is a little bit more unfinished, a little bit more asymmetrical. And then I kind of make sure this is even and give it a little push. Okay, ready for the next one. And then this is where I measure out my straws. This is going to be a little bit too long, so I'll cut these down a little bit. So the very last step is the fourth layer, but before you put the fourth layer on, typically stab it with some tears. Okay, there we go, glob it on there. Okay, so next you take your straws. I try to measure them out so that you'd fit another cake on top, but it won't poke through. This looks good. Let's put this one here. This skinny cake only calls for, 3. However, most cakes that are bigger need like 4 or 5. Dust off the top. All right. And there you have it. So then once you get it all pretty much covered, I go over the top again because, again, the top's the only thing that needs to be perfect. And then I clean up the bottom after, so don't worry, you can make a little bit of a mess with this. Okay, here we go. Okay, and when it comes to cleaning it and perfecting it, I try to clean my knife every single time because it makes for a smoother line. Usually end up making a mess, and I get the whole bowl basically covered, and then after that I grab a rag. But okay, next I'm going to take my flat blade and just spin it until it looks much more finished already. Clean my blade, and here we go again. You'll see there's a lot of spots. I'm going really OCD now, so I just do this a bunch more. You're not going to miss much. And then it usually gets too naked. I usually end up putting it back on, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. So after I frost the cake, my scavenger comes out. He's my helper, but he's devouring the leftovers. Paul, I might need that.
No problem.
So I just tend to make a mess and then clean it all up at the end. Anyway, this blade, so I'm using the straight edge, but if you wanted a more ribbed look, this is the most popular one that I use. These ones are a little bit trickier. This kind of looks like the Carvel look, but I just try to make my cake as naked and slutty as possible. So I just run this through, and the reasons why it's naked is because you start to be able to see where the cake is, and I try to find spots that are more naked than others and make sure that it's not all in the same area, so then that way it's a little bit artsy, I guess. Help. Next step to take the cake is just to kind of go around the edges and like clean it up, so then I have a clear canvas for decorating. That's the fun part. And you'll see I have to clean up my board underneath as well because I am the messy baker, because that is the only fun way to do it. So the key to the drip is you don't want it to go all the way down to the bottom, so go as slowly as possible so that the drip only goes so far. And each one you kind of, so that one I did a little bit longer because I don't want it to be the same as the one next to it. The ideal look is kind of messier, again, imperfect. Oh, I hope that one's not too heavy. I think it's going to go all the way to the bottom. That's too bad. It's way too bad. By the way, this cake's for my cousin. She's a lucky princess. Oh, I think it might have stopped. I hope so. Anyway, so drip, drip. Let's wait and see how these come out before I continue, because reevaluate. Looking good. Looking good. Okay, drip, 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 drip. Did I go a little crazy there? Maybe. Drip, drip, drip. Oh, fun. Drip, drip, And sometimes I like when this happens here, a very natural look. It's just kind of overflowing on the top. And here's an important part. We need these to match up, so I would say one more drip total. You don't want to go crazy. Okay, and then swirl it around the top. And again. Okay. Ganache is tricky, so I try to pre-make it and then let it cool down, and then I put it into a squirter bottle. Just connect all the dots. They're not dots, they're lines. Connect all the lines. And then I put this in the fridge to let it cool. The final cake, ladies and gentlemen, a little imperfect, a little drippy, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of hazelnut. I think she's gonna love it.